How many of you do not have my Work for Equity course? Do not have it. Okay, how many of you do have it? All right, let me see. 4 of you don't have it. 8 of you do have it. And there's about 80 people in the room. So let me ask this one more time. How many of you do not have it? Okay, how many of you just don't know if you have it or not? You got so many courses you don't know anymore, huh? Well, look, when we get a house, whether it be bank-owned or whether it be a lease option or whether it be a subject to, the last thing I want to do is renovate it. And of course, I'm not going to renovate a lease option. Scott, how many bank-owned properties have we bought in, say, the last 30 days?
We've closed on 6 in the last 30 days.
Okay. How many of those have we renovated?
We did one minor renovation.
That was only because we had to, or we'd have never found a buyer, right?
Right.
Okay. And what did we do to that house? Because you talked me into it.
It was a very ugly pink color on the outside.
Yeah.
So we painted the outside, did some minor touch-ups on the inside.
How much did we spend on that house?
Oh gosh, $1,200.
$1,200?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not a renovation. But hey, as far as I'm concerned, that's a renovation. All right. And that's the only one we've renovated?
Yeah.
Okay. And during this time, how many of them have you tried to get me to renovate?
A couple.
And what was my answer?
No.
All right. And why do you guys think I answered that? No. You listen to me, and you take mental note and you take physical note of this. Every time you start plowing money into renovations on properties is when you start losing money. When you buy properties, you need to understand that there's a whole subculture of people out there that would be loved to move into that property, as is, where is, if you lease option it to them and give them time to go get it fixed and then get a loan with their money. Their money, notice that part, their money. Scott, the house that we just closed on a couple days ago, it needs about $15,000 in work, doesn't it?
Yep.
And celery?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. What did we pay for that house?
$32.
And what's it worth, renovated?
$125.
And how many people do you have wanting to lease option that property from you right now as we sit here?
We have 5.
5. As is, where is.
And actually, I just, after we got back, I went into the car and called the one application, and we bumped him up $10,000 on the price, and he took it.
He took it?
Yeah, he took it.
Good. At lunch, Scott and I had this conversation. This guy wants us to accept $600 a month rent, and I told Scott, I haven't done that since 1985. Huh? This is 2012. Last time I looked. I said, you go back and tell him that I'll take his $600 a month rent if we raise the price $10,000. So is that what he took?
Yep, he took it.
Remember, that $600 is for 1 year.
Yeah, I know. He knows.
So I'm going to give him $200 a month in less rent. He's going to give me $10,000. Now, that kind of ought to tell you the magnitude of the person we're dealing with here, huh? He'd rather. I assume that he's going to buy the house, or he wouldn't be giving us how much cash?
He's only putting $2,500 up.
Yeah, but the house needs $15,000 worth of work. I mean, this house is really in piss poor condition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's taking it as is, where is, and he's still giving us $2,500 plus the first month rent plus the attorney's fee, and I'm going to sacrifice my $800 minimum rent on this thing for the $600 that he wants to pay for a whole year, and just live with it. But we raised the price $10,000 on him to do it. His choice. And I always like to give them choices. Let them decide. Okay, so anyway, what's the point of this conversation? Will you guys get out of the renovation mode? Get out of the renovation mode. Let the buyers renovate. They love this. Now, here's the reality, too. This house worth $120 repaired. We're selling the thing for the guy, what, $79,900?
Yeah.
As is? Come
Yeah.
on, guys, I paid $32,000 for it. $32,000. Is that not good enough? But that's assuming he buys. You know the chances of him buying? About as good as me getting skinny.
The Home Depot was created for the homeowner, you know,
Yeah?
not for us.
Yeah. That's right. They need this project.
That's right.
Correct. To stimulate their life, don't they, John?
That's
Yeah,
true.
because they love Home Depot and Lowe's. All right, so anyway, I don't even know what brought all that up, but get the property, pretty or ugly, put it on the market, let the market come in, and work for equity is all about discounting the price some and letting them do the work. The truth is, I don't really care what the sales price is because not more than 20% of the time are they actually going to go to closing unless I force the issue and beat them and get their credit cleaned up and do all that back end work. In my business, I don't care if they buy or not. In your business, maybe you do. Maybe you want them to cash out so you can pay the taxes. Your choice. I don't. I want the golden goose keep laying the golden eggs. So I don't really care what the price is because I know there's a little chance they're going to buy it anyway. So I'll let them negotiate me way down to get in cheap. All right. Payments current in poor condition, you're going to have to decide, do I want to lease it? Do I want to take it subject to? And what if it's free and clear, though, and it's in poor condition? Well, now you got all the flexibility in the world. In fact, I imagine that's kind of one of my favorite kind of deals because the fact that it's in poor condition just gives me a license to go in there and name whatever terms I want to name. Not only am I going to get it cheap, but I'm going to get a really low monthly payment. I'm going to get several months before I even start making payments, and I'm going to get in with little or nothing down. In other words, I see the reason the seller is going to be very flexible with me. I got a house that's in poor condition. Incidentally, guys, do people with free and clear houses have to go through the same process of selling a house as those with debt on them? They're no easier to sell just because there's no debt on them. So they have the same problems. And here you come along and figuring out a creative solution to get the house sold and get it off their back, especially what's in poor condition. People who have houses that are free and clear and in poor condition apparently don't have the money to fix them or they'd already be fixed. Or they don't want to fix them. So you take them as is, where is. Okay, payments in arrear, poor condition. If it's got very little equity, it's probably a time waster. And it might be a short sale candidate. And we'll discuss that. If it's in a lot of equity and the payments are in arrear, then you might want to take it subject to, make up the payments when you put tenant buyer in, or you might want to just short sale it. If it's got no equity, it's absolutely a time waster. So anyway, every deal that comes at you is going to fall into one of those slots. And it's way more complicated than it just sounded. I mean, it's less complicated than it just sounded. It just sounded complicated. But it's a lot less complicated than it sounds, as you'll see when we actually start going through them. All right, time wasters at a glance. I want you to be able to recognize time wasters because they'll suck up a lot of your energy. And they're on page 46. And just get rid of them, do away with them, get them out of your life, and don't worry about them anymore. Number one, and probably the biggest one, is when you just totally have an unreasonable seller. They want all cash, and they pretty much want full price on top of that. Guys, you're at a dead end. Get over with it. It's done. Forget about it. Nothing to do with the deal. Payments are higher than you feel the market will pay. Now, Scott's very first deal, I think it was his first deal, wasn't your first deal the house where there was a $239,000 balance on it and was only worth about $220,000?
Yep.
Okay. And the payment was $1,800 something a month. Yes?
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty high, but it was a nice house, wasn't it?
Real nice house.
I think. I don't know. I've never seen it. It took probably 6 weeks to find somebody to come in to absorb that payment But we wound up getting $10,000 out of that deal, and a realtor brought the lead in. She got $2,500, and we got the other $7,500. And frankly, we learned some lessons, which I'll get to tomorrow on that deal, about how to structure it, because in this case, the buyer wanted full credit for the amount they put down toward their down payment, because they fully intend to buy the house within the next 2 years. Also, since it was over leveraged, we created a way to satisfy their needs, that they could get a loan for the property even though there was more owed on it than it's worth, if they chose to buy it before the equity caught back up. And we're going to cover that as well. All right. Condition of the house makes it unsellable as is to an owner-occupant, even a work-for-equity owner-occupant. And you're going to run across those things. I mean, sometimes they're just too atrocious to get anybody interested in them. And I'm going to tell you one thing that's going to be very hard for you to overcome, and that's a house that stinks. If you open the front door and it just takes your breath away, you're just not going to get owner-occupants to go in that house, especially the women in the family. So if it's like that, you should either pass, or you should get the seller to get that house to where you can get that stink out of it. And I can tell you the only way you're going to get that stink out of a house is to yank all the carpet and all the pad out of it and throw it away, and then probably treat the floor underneath it if it's soaked through, and it probably has. There's no other way.
Ron?
You ain't going to clean the carpet. Yes?
We actually have a thing called a stink machine.
Have what?
It's a machine called the stink machine.
Yeah?
And it literally, you do not have to take the carpet out. You have the carpets cleaned by a professional cleaner. But this machine is in there for about 3 days, and it pulls all the stink out.
Well, I don't believe it.
Okay. Honestly, it does.
You're going to have to bring one to Florida and prove it to me.
I would be glad to do that for you.
I don't believe it. That urine is all the way down through there and soaked into the floor. I'm having a hard time believing that a machine will pull the stink out of it. And even if it does, how long will it be before it comes back? I don't know. I hope you're right. And if there is such a machine, Stephanie, I want one. Huh? All right, you do that. I'll hold my breath and eagerly await it. You hear that, Scott? We're getting a stink machine. Okay. Okay, number 4, unreasonable sellers who expect short-term payoffs, high down payments, high monthly payments, personal guarantees, or prices too high to kill your intended exit strategy. All right, now guys, what are you going to do when a seller asks you to personally guarantee a debt? Can you do this? For all of you listening, that means no, you will not. Under no circumstances, no exceptions, do you personally guarantee a lease purchase or a seller carryback note? There are no exceptions. Do not guarantee either one of them, because the minute you do, you are at risk. And you do not need to do that to buy houses. I'd rather you pass than to personally guarantee that debt. And when they say, will you personally guarantee it? The answer is no. Well, why not? Because it's against my company policy. Because my wife won't let me. Or how about this? Because I choose not to. Are you saying you won't sell it unless I personally guarantee it? Well, yeah, well, then I'm not your huckleberry. Sell it to somebody else, because I'm not going to personally guarantee it. If I personally guaranteed every house that I buy, I'd have millions of dollars worth of debt out there. I'm not going to do it. If you don't believe I'm going to make your payments, don't sell it to me. If you do, sell it to me. Your choice. I'll abide by whatever your decision is. But I will not personally guarantee the debt. Are there any more questions? And that's exactly the way I would handle it. Now, you're going to handle it your own way. You're going to crawl up there in the corner and get up in a fetal position. No, please don't make me. Please don't make me. I'm not. I have absolutely no problem saying no. No, no, no. Try it. It works. No. Yeah. In fact, I even have this thing on my desk. Most people have this easy button. I have a no button. It says no 25 different ways. So people come into my office, Scott comes in there, wants the button. All right, next page is posture, and that's actually what we're talking about here, isn't it? On page 47. And look, I'm going to confess to you that this is going to take a little practice. Especially when you're new and you're worried about what everybody else is going to say. And which is what most people worry about. What is everybody going to say? What if they ask me a question I don't know the answer to? Well, they will. And here's how you can handle that. If somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, why don't you just say, listen, you know what? I don't know that answer. But I will certainly get it and get back to you tomorrow. Don't try to answer questions you don't know the answer to. It'll just make you look foolish. But what you've got to work at is to not sound like you're on the defensive. You have nothing to defend yourself against. Seller runs the ad, you're just simply answering the ad. You do not need to take any crap from them. You don't need to pre-screen. You don't need to justify your existence on this planet. You don't need to make excuses for anything. In fact, you're the buyer. You're the one that should be intimidating them. Who needs whom the worst? Plenty of sellers, not so many buyers. It's a buyer's market. And here you are one. So it's going to take time for you to control your posture and not let them put you in the defensive. And you've got to quit worrying about rejection. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter they're having a bad day. It doesn't matter they're trying to take it out on you and they don't even know you. You see, some people are just downright nasty most of the time because their life sucks. It's not your problem and it's not your fault. The good part about it is when you turn the conversation around, when you get somebody like that and you change their attitude. And that's kind of fun when you learn to do that. When you quit worrying about what other people are saying all the time and realize that you've got nothing to be ashamed of here, you will then start playing these little games. Somebody calls me irate and they start getting huffy on me. I love it. I just stop the conversation and say, hey, John, do you talk like this to everybody who calls you about your house, or is it just me? You mad at me today for something? I know you can't be because we don't even know each other. You did run an advertisement to sell your house, didn't you, John? Well, yeah. Did you expect anybody to call? Yeah, well, hey, I'm calling. But to be honest with you, based on your attitude, I doubt that we're going to be able to do business unless I can convince you to chill out, brother. And I'll tell you, I learned a lesson from a Delta agent one time I'm never going to forget. I'm standing in line trying to get my ticket at Delta, and there's this guy in front of me just hollering and screaming at the agent across there. I mean, just raking him over the coals because his plane was late or canceled or something. I don't even know. And that agent just, he didn't say one word. He just sat there and took it. And the next thing I know, I saw him put his glasses down on his nose. He said, sir, right now there's only two people that care whether you get where you're going, and one of them's losing interest rapidly. Guy shut up. Immediately stopped. Next thing I knew, he was smiling. He knew he'd been had. And so the Delta agent, just like that, turned the conversation right around on him. And, you know, I'm challenging you to do the same thing. Now, I don't want you to believe that everybody you get on telephone with is going to be nasty, because it's just not true. In fact, most of the people you're going to be talking to just can't wait to give you all the information they know. They want you to call. They're waiting for you to call. And they're nervous as heck because they don't know what to say when you call. They're way more afraid of you than you are of them. But are you going to occasionally run across the nasty one? Yeah, of course, because you're dealing with people. By the way, that's exactly why I want the VAs doing the front end work for you and you not doing it. Let them handle the nasty ones. Get them out, get it all out of their system. And it's the same way, the reason I want Pat Live taking those front end calls from the inbound. What are you calling? Where'd you buy this letter? Where'd this letter come from? How you get my address? Well, you ain't going to get any of that stuff. because when you call them, you're going to have this thing completely filled out. All right, so your posture is what you make it. Do not make promises you cannot keep, and you don't have to keep any. Do business with the people who want to do business with you, and get rid of the rest and get them out of your life. You don't have to tell lies. You don't have to make up crap. You tell it like it is, and if they don't like it, tough. Now's the time to know. We're not going to keep big, vast secrets. We're not going to hide the fact from them that we don't intend to buy their house. We're going to find somebody else to put in it, and they got to approve them. We got to bring all that out up front. And I got the scripts in here for you to do that with. So this is not a business where I got to go take advantage of people, lie to them, cheat them, steal from them, or any of those misconceptions that much of your marketplace has out there. All of those people on those mindless chat rooms, that's what they think real estate is all about. A whole bunch of investors taking advantage of people. And the reality is, what kind of mess do you think this economy would be in right now if it weren't for us investors? Gee whiz, who would be buying all this junk? Be sitting out there some really cheap prices. Right now, I'm buying houses at 1985 prices. I honestly don't want to see them get any lower. If they get any lower, we're really not going to have a market. And just for the record, guys, I hope you're not under the impression that this thing's going to turn itself around real quick and we're going to wake up one day next year and it'll all be over. Ain't going to happen. It's going to take years for this thing to clean up. And I don't care what any of the talking heads tell you, and I don't care what the president cannot fix it. The government cannot fix it. There's only one thing that can fix this. Who knows what it is? Time, nothing else. We're in a cleansing. We're in a 60-year cycle of cleansing. And it's going to play itself out, and there's nothing the government's making it worse by incentivizing the banks to not let these properties go through foreclosure. Well, they're going through foreclosure. It's only a matter of time. Might as well get it over with. Cleansing effect over. In fact, the faster they turn on the foreclosure machine and get it over with, the faster we'd recover. Try to tell a Democrat that. Okay, I'm going to go through some of these prospects up here right now. I'm going to let you guys tell me, suspects or prospects? Yep, I believe it's going to work. All right, I'm going to call out your name. You're the one that brought the lead in. And I'll give you a few facts here. And just for the record, for you guys on tape, I'm holding up a property information sheet that I think it's, what is that, Marion? Or Morrow or Murray, huh? Murrow, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages of crap. There's only one page I care about. The rest of this is just killing trees. I don't need it. And neither does your mentor, guys, and neither do you. Creating monstrous piles of paperwork like that on a sheet like this is a waste of your time. First thing we got to do is to figure out whether this is a suspect or a prospect. Because if we don't get the right answers on here, we sure don't need none of that junk, do we? All right? So let's pre-screen this thing. And please do not send piles of papers to your mentors because they're not going to look at them. And we don't even need it until we get the right answers out of the seller. All right, Murrow, let's take a look at this. We have a $239,000 asking price, and we have a $240,000 loan. Therefore, the seller's asking what they owe or about. We have their value. They think it's worth about $303,000. His comps think that he agrees with them about $300,000 tops. But there's a $1,200 a month payment, and they're current, and they said, yes, I will lease option, and yes, I will sell for what's owed on it. It is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,200 square foot house located in where? South Carolina. Okay. All right. So, Murrow, when did you get this lead? 4-3. How long ago was that? That would be 10 days ago.
Yes.
12 days. All right. So, Merle, this is for you to answer. What do you see here? Where are you? Okay, what do you see here?
I was looking
First
at
of all, is it a suspect or a prospect?
prospect.
It's about as hot as prospects get, isn't it? I mean, the seller's done everything except please get your butt out here and get my house. I told you they sell it for what they owe on it, right? And then they'll lease option to you as well. Okay, so here's the question. Do you lease option this property or do you take the deed?
Take the deed.
You take the deed. Now be careful. There's $240 owed on it. Well, you think it's worth $300 though, don't you? Yes?
The only reason I said 300 and not 315 is because 300's the most anything in that subdivision is sold for.
Uh-huh. But that was for cash to qualified buyers. That's for we put it on the market on a lease purchase for the $325,000 it should be selling for. Wouldn't
Correct.
you agree? Huh?
Yes.
Okay. So you get the deed. Now in South Carolina, your closing costs are about none, aren't they?
Almost.
Okay. And if that's the case, I would agree with you 1,000%, mostly because it's got a $1,200 payment on it. And it's a $300,000 house. He would be foolish to axe this deal. What do you think, if you put a lease option tenant buyer in this house, what do you think you could get per month, give or take?
1,800 to 2,000.
1,800, 2,000. Okay? And that's normally, isn't it? Now, of course, if I put a lease option tenant buyer in there, I might be able to get a little more. Okay? So if I get $2,000 a month and I'm paying out $1,200, my math says that's $800 a month you get to keep, right? So what do you do for a living now?
I work for a billboard company.
Okay. So how many hours you got to work to get $800?
Too many.
Too many. All right. Pretty soon you'll own the billboard company. All right, so what are you going to do with this?
Go get it under contract.
And do you know how to do that?
I will after this weekend.
That's correct. Come on up and get it, because this is the deal, man. In fact, have you had a conversation with yourself with the seller?
Yes.
All right. And they said, I'd be happy to lease option it? Oh, my goodness. Did you talk about getting a deed?
No.
All right. So here's what I want you to do. In fact, come on up here. You're the seller. I'm gonna approach you in your house. You're the seller. Have a seat there, Mr. Seller. Okay. I'm knocking on your door.
Come in.
Thank you. All right. How are you?
I'm fine.
Your name is April. Hi, April. Okay. Can I just take a walk?
Sure.
No dogs, naked people, or anything?
No.
Okay. Walk. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen. Yep. Living room. Yep. Looks like the last 2,000 of them. Okay. All right. Well, April, I actually have a couple of choices for you. One, you got to tell me, would you rather sell a house today, or would you rather just lease option it today?
I'd rather just sell it and get rid of it.
Okay. Well, that'll narrow us down to choices then. What I'll do with your permission is I'll leave an agreement here that says that I'll buy your house for what you owe on it. I'll pay all your closing costs. I'll close whenever you're ready. About 3 days from now is the quickest I can close. And from that point on, it's not your concern anymore. Now, that does mean that I'm going to take over your debt. I'll start making your payments within the next 2 months. And that does mean the loan will stay in your name till I get it paid off sometime in the future. Keep you awake at night?
No.
Okay. Well, then that's what we'll do. It's that simple. I'll just buy your house instead of lease purchasing it from you. All right? All right. Well, let me get my purchase and sale agreement. Okay. I'll need your okay right there where it says, by the way, are you married?
No.
Okay. I'll need your okay where it says seller right there. This agreement says I'm going to buy your house, I'm paying your closing costs, and we're closing next Wednesday. Any questions?
No.
All right, good. We're done. I just bought his house. Now he's going to go to my attorney. My attorney's going to do the paperwork. All I'm doing is purchase and sale agreement right now, which is very simple to do, and in your book, I might add. All right. Well, April, this conversation's over.
Thank you.
You just got a deal. And please do not screw up the deal. All right. Give him a round of applause for that. And I'm going to tell you, it's very likely she would much rather sell the house than lease option it. Wouldn't most people? Yes. So the only hurdle you got left is will they sell it subject to? And I point blank told them, I'll take over your house. I'll buy your house. I'll pay the closing costs. I'll take over your debt. I will make payments on it until it's paid off sometime in the future. Did you notice how simple that was? Hello? I did not use the words subject to, which nobody understands. I just told her exactly what I was going to do in layman's terms. If she says okay, should you just shut up and do it? All right. Then let your attorney handle the rest. You got a deal, man. That's a good one. That is a good one. And, you know, that's one of those once-in-a-lifetime deals that comes along about once a week. Okay, whose is this? John Slavic. Hey, I had you on the call the other night, didn't I, John? Where are you at? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Huh? Okay. We got, it is in Florida, we got a $142,000 loan, which is a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, and they'll sell it for what's owed. And John thinks it's worth about that or a little more, right, John? Somewhere between 150 and 200, close enough.
Right.
Close enough. Got a payment on it, $1,267, and yes, the payments are current, and yes, they will do a lease purchase. What's all that say there? Don't make me work so hard.
Bruce sounded like she wanted to do it. She had to talk to her daughter because she said her daughter is more business-like. So
Okay,
her
well, who
daughter's
owns the
supposed to call
house,
me.
mother or daughter?
The mother.
All right. Carpet is a little worn.
Room off the master. It could be a fourth bedroom. It's not on record, but it doesn't have a closet, but it could be a fourth
Okay.
bedroom.
All right, so the house could use a little work, right? But she'll sell it for what she owes, but what she owes is probably less than what it's owed. Come on, he's got comps for 153, 149, and 199. And it is a 1,800 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. So, all right, John, what are we going to do? Is it a suspect or a prospect? Prospect. Prospect, prospect, prospect. The seller's already said yes to a lease purchase. It's not overfinanced. The payment is reasonable. House is in pretty good shape. Everything is working for you. What are you going to do?
I'm going to call the seller back and talk to her again.
What's to talk to her about? You call the seller back and make an appointment.
Okay. Make an appointment then.
Make an appointment.
Yeah.
You can do that today.
Well, the problem is it's an out of state, so I can't see her. I have to only talk to her.
But you can see the house.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Go see the house and then tell her what you'll do. And put it in writing. And send it to her. And then if she sends it back, you got a deal. And you follow up till you get it back.
Okay.
All right? There it is. 2 out of 2. All right, next one. Another one from John. House owed 112, asking 110. I don't get that. So they're going to bring money to closing, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Worth in 129, 147, somewhere in there. 1,200 payment, and it is current, and yes, they will lease purchase it, and yes, they'll sell for what's owed on it. Because it says so. All right. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,100 square feet. And does it need repairs? No.
Nope.
Gosh, guys.
I wish it was that easy. I talked to her. She was all for it. Then she told me that call back in a little bit to talk to her husband.
Uh-huh.
When I called back, they didn't answer the phone. I called her back the next day, got a hold of her.
Uh-huh.
She said that her husband didn't have any didn't feel good about it, and that the real thing came out is they talked to the realtor, and the realtor said don't do it. So
Okay. All right. Well, what you should do in that case is send them a note in about 30 days, another payment from now, and remind them that you're still there. In fact, what I would do is I'd take out a piece of paper and I'd write down what you'll do for them, and in 30 days call them again. Because no matter what the realtor said, the realtor's not making their payment for them.
that's true. And as she said, she wanted 110. She knew she was going to go to closing and she'd have to pay if she was going to sell the house.
Well, you need to point out that they're right on the paper now. I will lease option your property from you. It costs you nothing, or I will purchase it by taking over your debt and pay your closing costs. You decide. And we can close within a few days after you say go. Period. And get that out to them in writing, because that's going to make a big difference. To have something in writing is a whole lot better than having something in air. And frankly,
Definitely.
if I were you and you're out in that area, knock on their door. Say, hey, I'm John. Just wanted to check in. And I know your realtor told you not to do this, but, you know, is your realtor going to make your payments for you? Is your realtor going to buy your house? So if you have any questions for me, now would be a good time.
Is the house listed by the realtor?
No.
No, she just getting
No.
the advice from their
It's rented right now. It's not listed.
getting advice from
Or
their
is
realtor.
is this one listed?
You know. Okay. Whose is this? This is David. David, where you at? Okay, David. We got a $163,000 loan. We got an asking price of $180,000. We got an ARV of about the same, maybe a little higher, and we got a payment of $1,545 plus $150 HOA dues. And the seller has said, yes, I will lease purchase, but no, I will not sell for what's owed. And that means they want a little bit of money. Remember, they owed $163, they're asking $180, and it's worth $180 or more, and the payment is $1,545. So, David, you tell me, suspect or prospect?
I was kind of dancing around with this one for a while. It could be a prospect as an axe deal.
That is correct. That is the right answer, because that's all it is.
Right.
It's an axe deal mostly because the payment is too high, or at its max.
Correct.
Plus, there's no equity in it, at least to speak of. So I'd go get a lease option agreement signed up, and I'd axe it and put somebody else in and collect about $10,000.
Right. Thank you.
Got it?
Yep.
Did you have an axe discussion with the seller?
No,
Why not?
because I was coming here.
Did you talk to the seller?
Not yet.
You haven't talked to the seller. Okay, well, then you got to get the script right out of my book and have the axe discussion with the seller. And you do that before you go take a look at the house.
Okay.
Okay, here's another one he's got. House is free and clear. And they're asking $249, and it looks like it might be worth, according to his comps, $260, $265. Seller thinks it's worth $270. Seller says what to owner financing, David?
Yes. No, to owner financing? No.
Where do I see that? So it's a, did you ask him, did anybody ask him if they'd owner finance it?
Yeah, he said no. He would do a lease option.
But he will do a lease option.
Yeah, and then the also my comps actually came in at 160, not at he says it's worth 270, but my comps are at 160.
Well, 160, okay. Well, I'm looking at your comps. It says 237, 260, and 265.
No, that's what the VA wrote.
Well, where'd the VA get that from?
I don't know, but I did my research and it's 165.
Well, I don't believe you. I got too much evidence to believe your VA.
No, it's worth 165, Ron.
Well, that's what you say. Show me the comps.
It's on Realist. I went on there. There's
Where did your VA get those three comps?
I have no idea.
Well, maybe you should ask. I'm sure she didn't make them up. And
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to know why I think that the VA is closer to right than you are?
Why?
Well, because the seller's asking. The seller's done a little bit of work, and I got three right there that I just can't believe are fiction, that are closer to their number than your number.
Yeah, I pulled up on the MLS list too, and there was three that were completely remodeled and sold. The top was 165, and they're a bigger
Doesn't mean
size.
that it's a good comp, though, Dave.
No? Okay.
Do your homework. Do what your gut tells you to do, but in the situation we're in right now, you guys got to be very careful about your comps, because I can't tell you how many deals get killed because people grossly underestimate the value of the property, largely because they're using bank-owned properties for comps.
Ron, worst case scenario, let's hypothetically say the comps are, let's say, 165, and he has it at 270, but he's willing to let it go at 240. So he's willing.
I wouldn't do it.
Just okay.
I wouldn't touch it. Because he's just totally unrealistic. All right, next. Wayne. Got a $50,000 loan with a $75 payment that is current, and they're asking $50,000. So they're asking what they owe. And the R, they think it's 88, you think it's 100 in good condition. And they will lease purchase it. So what kind of condition is it in? It says that it does need some work. Any idea how much work, Wayne?
About 15,000.
About 15? Perfect. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,100 square foot house. Does have a basement. And they're getting divorced, moved out, put 3 different renters in it, and they didn't like the results. Imagine that. Okay. Did they answer yes or no? They answered yes, they will lease purchase it.
He's open
Okay.
to options.
Where are you at? Hold your hand. All right. You know what? You'd be better off taking a debt over subject to, wouldn't you? Huh? He only owes $50,000 on it. I want you to temporarily forget the condition. Can you? Hello? Did I not just tell you that Scott's got 5 applicants for a house that needs $15,000 worth of work on it? Right?
Yes.
I think you should take over the debt subject to, if he'll let you, buy the house, then put a work for equity tenant buyer in there at maybe $80,000. And let them do the work with their own hands and their own labor. And if they do fine it, they don't fine. And you got a monthly payment that all you got to do is make sure they cover your monthly payment, which is probably PITI. It almost has to be on a $50,000 loan. Plus, I'll bet you that that loan is paying down at lightning speed now because it's probably in the latter part of the loan. So this is one you want to buy. I got a house right now out here right in this area we're in, sort of. I took it over subject to 10 years ago now. And there was almost $80,000 owed on it then. And I haven't put any money in this house. I'm only on my 2nd tenant buyer in it right now. The debt is paid down to the low 40s. I haven't touched the house. First tenant buyer lived in there 9 years. And I didn't do a thing to this house. They moved out, and I put another one in there as is. That house needs $20,000 worth of work if I had to renovate it. So I put another one in there as is. They're making the payment, PITI, and that's about all I'm getting out of it. But each time they gave me $3,000 to $5,000. This last guy gave me $3,000 plus the first month's payment, and pretty soon they're going to have the house paid off. So I don't care whether they buy it or not. It's a free house to me 10 years ago, and this seems like the same thing. I bet you within 10 years the thing's free and clear.
12.
So what are you going to do? What do you do from here?
Well, I personally don't want to be a landlord, so I'm going to axe it.
You're going to pass?
I'm going to put a tenant. I would put a tenant buyer in there and get a an option fee
You're going to put a tenant buyer in
or
there.
an assignment fee.
You're going to sign it. And so you've got this, I don't want to be a landlord attitude.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Have you been there, done that with tenant buyers who give you several $1,000s up front?
Yes.
Who agree to make all the repairs?
Once or twice.
Okay, so what did
Years
you do?
ago.
What did you do to screw it up the last time?
Market tank.
I'm going to tell you right now that you should work on adjusting that attitude, because putting tenant buyers in a house is a whole different business than putting tenants in houses. And if you guys aren't willing to put tenant buyers in houses, you're going to you're killing the goose right now. You're totally destroying the ability to create cash flow, occasional chunks of cash when they move out and you replace them, and wealth from debt pay down and later cash outs. And I'm telling you, tenant buyers are a pleasure to deal with compared to tenants. And we'll discuss all that tomorrow. But there it is. Do whatever you want to do with it. I can assure you, I've never made a nickel on all of the deals I didn't do. All right, there's another one for Wayne. Asking price $69,900, loan $61,200. Looks like the comps are pretty much what they owe, a little more. Payment $625, and they say yes, they will lease purchase it for the loan balance. So this one's kind of simple. Go lease purchase it if you want. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Oh, I don't know about this one, though. Look at that, guys. 700 square feet. To me, that would kill it dead, Wayne. I don't want any more 700 square foot houses. Had enough. Too hard to get people in. Why do you guys bring all of this junk? Okay, free and clear. Ed from Florida. Asking 90. Seller says it's worth 78, but still wants 90. Your comps say it's worth 85 to 90, but it says yes, they will owner finance. Where you at, Ed?
Right here.
All righty. Did you have a conversation with the seller yourself?
Yes, I've had one conversation.
Okay. Did you discuss this seller financing stuff?
I tried to, and he wanted to actually just said maybe he might do it.
Maybe?
Maybe,
Well, okay.
but it depends on him getting some cash out of it.
Well, what should you have said?
How much?
That's right. Did you?
I tried to, but I couldn't. I still couldn't get a figure out of him.
Huh?
I
Couldn't get a
tried
figure?
to, but I couldn't get a figure out of him.
All right. What did you say to him?
I just asked him, how much would he have to have in order for us to make this deal work for him.
Uh-huh. And he said?
He says, I just don't know right this minute exactly how much, because he's planning to he wants to move to, from the East Coast over to the West Coast, him and his wife.
Uh-huh. All right. How about you and I having this conversation? Wayne, where'd you go? All right. You and I are going to have this conversation. Okay? I'm the buyer. You're him. You're going to act like him, right?
Okay.
What's him's name?
David.
David. All right. David,
Yes,
you say
sir.
you'll owner finance it?
Yes.
Do you have
Get
anything
some
in mind?
cash. I'm sorry?
Do you have anything in mind?
Maybe 25
25 what?
cash.
25 cash?
Uh-huh.
Down?
Yes.
What would be your second choice?
More if I could get it.
Okay. Well, Dave, there's no way I'm going to buy your house and give you $25,000 down. So you're saying if you don't get less down, you don't want to sell it with owner financing?
No. I'd have to see what an offer would be like. And
You'd have to see what?
I'd have to see what the offer would be and talk it over with my wife.
I don't have an offer. I'm trying to find out what you want to determine whether I can give it to you or not. And so far, I'm not liking the way this conversation's going.
Well,
Are you saying that you have to have a great big down payment, or you won't sell it with owner financing?
no, I would sell it with owner financing.
Will you sell it with nothing down?
No, because I need cash to go buy another one over.
How much cash?
I'm assuming I'm going to need about somewhere between $15,000 to $25,000.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't be able to get that for you on this house. So what will you do if you don't get the cash?
Just have to wait for another offer.
Is that what you want to do?
Well, at this time, yes,
Okay. Would you take my name and number in case it doesn't work out the way you plan?
sure will.
In fact, Dave, does it ever work out the way you plan? Huh?
Usually not.
Okay. Then will you take my name and number? Do not lose it. Here's what I can do for you. I can buy your house with owner financing. I can make you monthly payments. I will not put up a big down payment. Or I can lease purchase it from you and still make you a monthly payment. But that's about all I can do for you. Because if I paid cash, you wouldn't like my offer. In fact, I would embarrass you with an all-cash offer in this market. But either one of those you want to do, I can do, and I can do it just in a few days, and whenever you're ready, call me and let me know, and we'll get back together. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. Pardon me? How much down payment can I put down? I usually buy them with no money down. Will that work for you? No? Well, okay, no problem. I got 4 other people to see today. All right. Who's in control of that conversation? Oh, Wayne, back to you, man. This the same Wayne?
Yeah. That
All
house
right.
I just found out that house
Well,
sold.
congratulations for at least
somebody
bringing
else.
in the deals. Look at this. Seller's asking $400,000. I didn't know there was a house in Indiana worth that much. Asking 400, but the seller thinks it's worth 5.25, and you think it's worth 460 at least, right?
Yes.
And the seller says, yes, I will owner finance. Pretty and clear. So, did you talk to the seller yourself?
Actually, no, but actually one of my guys just called and said that she took another offer at lunchtime. He told me at lunchtime today it's gone.
She what?
It's gone. She took another offer.
No, it's not gone until you call her and find out if it's closed. Guys, please do not assume because somebody tells you it's sold that it's sold. It's not sold. Okay, somebody might be just pumping her full of hot air, or somebody might have just said, I'll give you more, and to her that means it's sold. Verify it's sold first. Because if they will owner finance this property and they're reasonable, you got a sweet, sweet deal there. You're already going to buy it well below market value, and if you could create some good terms on this, I could easily see you getting a $1,500 a month cash flow on this one house because of the price range. For example, if I can get her to take, say, $800 a month they'll pay it, or $1,000, probably get $2,500 a month out of this house. Wouldn't you agree? Huh?
At least.
That's huge. That's big time huge. So I'm in. Now, what if I can't? What if she wants more down than I can give her? Can I at least turn it into an axe deal? Let's say she wants $25,000 down. I'll go find somebody with $35,000. Pretty simple. I don't take questions unless they're on the mic. All right, John. John got a $150,000 loan, South Carolina, asking $299,900. Seller thinks it's worth $315,000. You think it's worth $300,000. I can't. Will the seller owner finance? Well, no. Will the seller lease purchase? Not circled, John. Which is it?
They will lease purchase, or they may take some seller financing. They weren't sure.
All right. They have a $2,000 a month payment.
They're paying extra to pay it down.
Okay.
He thought it was around $1,100 a month.
All right, and it's a 3, 2.5. Don't know the square footage. What's that down here? 16 acres?
It's a horse farm.
This is a 16-acre property?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
He'll take $260 all cash.
Huh?
He'll take $260. It's worth $315.
Okay, but you told me they'd at least purchase it.
Yes.
I wonder if they'd owner finance it. Did they blatantly say no?
No. He's open to it. It's been on the market for over a year. He's already moved.
Oh, my goodness.
Bought another place.
All right. Oh, my goodness. All right. 200 and they're asking $299, but he'd take $260.
Yes.
Okay, here's your offer. $260,000. $10,000 down. And I want you to give them $1,000 a month till paid. And starting in 3 months. You writing this?
Yep.
Okay. But here's the kicker. You got a 16-acre property. I want you to make darn sure you get a release clause for this property per square foot. Not per acre, per square foot. So in other words, actually, do you have any idea how much land would be required to have a house where this one is? It's probably going to be 1 acre. It could be as much as 5 acres. Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we need to find that out. We go, what am I thinking, guys? Absolutely. I want to split this thing off. Let's hope we get lucky and hope the house is up here on one corner of it. That would be nice.
It's in the front corner. There's about an acre in front of it.
Oh, cool.
But it sits in the front right corner.
Oh, cool. So let's say we have a surveyor draw off a 5-acre tract if it's not already done, and the house sits on 5 acres. So that leaves 11 acres over here that can be developed into something, now or later. He needs to structure this deal so that he can pay off the house and the land it's on without paying off the rest, or vice versa. So if he sells that 11 acres to a developer or a builder or something, he wants to be able to have it built right into his mortgage that they have to take X to release whatever parcel he's selling. If that makes any sense to you. All right. In the meantime, your offer is, as I wrote there, but you need a release clause that simply says that they will release any portion of the land for the same price per square foot as you paid for it.
Okay.
And you need to establish a value on the house and the land that it's on, and I'd put maybe $150,000 value. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means you owe them $100,000 on the land and $150,000 on the house and the land it's on.
Okay.
All right. I know that's complicated, but... All right, Bruce, what do we got here? I guess it's free and clear. Asking 70. Seller estimates the value at 70. We have no comps from Bruce, so we have no clue what it's really worth. And yes, the seller will own, no, the seller will not owner finance, but they will lease purchase.
Yeah, Ron, I just got that when I was coming up to the boot camp. I got here Thursday night late, and my VA talked to him, but I haven't been able
You haven't
to get a
talked
hold
to
of
him,
him.
right?
Correct.
Okay, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot house, and it looks like it says it needs repairs. Do you have any idea how much?
No.
All right. Okay. Well, you need to get on the telephone with them and see what they have in mind, if it's free and clear. First, if I were you, I'd go do some comps on it. You can do that in the back of the room there if you want. Find out what you think it's worth. It's in Florida, Venice, huh? Okay. I'll bet you it's worth more than that, unless it's in a war zone or something. So you got to... Huh? He needs a new VA. No, he needs to spend a little time with this VA before we go whacking VAs.
Correct.
Okay. Always easier to fire than train. A couple of questions first. On the short sales, John is putting offers on what kind of condition are the properties in. John, that's kind of a question for you. They're probably in all kinds of conditions, aren't they?
Yeah, the properties we're doing with short sales are typically anywhere from they have mortgages on them anywhere from $300,000 up to about $1 million. So they're in pretty decent shape, but they're pretty over leveraged at this point.
Yeah. So while we're on that subject, and I'm sure it's in here somewhere, but let's just make sure we cover it. What's a short sale prospect? First of all, it is not a pretty house that's over leveraged. At least not a short sale prospect that I'm going to pay cash to buy, because I'll never get it discounted down far enough. A short sale prospect might be a pretty house, a house that's over leveraged that is ugly, then I might get it discounted. Even then it's going to be tough. Because guys, if I'm going to pay cash for a house, how many of you have not been to Quick Start School yet? Not been there yet. Not been. Let me see. Okay. If I'm going to pay cash for a house, you know that I'm going to pay probably, somewhere around 55, 60% of the ARV, or I'm not buying it. And obviously we're buying them for less than that. So why pay more? And that means that my chances of getting that lender to discount it down to that are just very remote in the cases where they're financed to the max or beyond, even when they're ugly, really. Best candidates, though, are ones with the big seconds on them, and we can get rid of the second by negotiating it down to practically nothing, say 10 cents on the dollar, or the ones that do have some equity in them, and especially if they're ugly. So if they already got equity in them and they're ugly, now I can get that baby down there to where I'd pay cash for it. So, John, you tell me, what's your best candidates for short sales?
Well, what we're doing is like I said, $300,000 to about $1 million is the mortgage that's owed on them. We're getting them negotiated down to about a third of what's owed on them.
Okay, that's on the higher priced houses.
That's correct.
That is correct. High priced houses are good short sale candidates, and they will take huge hits on those deals. And so, in fact, there's a whole business within the business right there. Go call the FSBOs with the big mortgages that are way in default, and then create a short sale, discounting that thing down 6 figures. And now, when you get it down, you get a $300,000 house down to $100,000, or a $500 or $1 million house down to $350,000. Now, if you hit a home run,
Right.
yes,
Yes.
okay. I know you're absolutely skeptical as to whether that could happen, especially where you live. But I can tell you, it's happening all over America, whether you choose to participate in it or not. I built a house in South Carolina. I had $1.6 million in building it. That house went into foreclosure, ultimately. Do you know what that house was bought for from the bank? $275,000. I'm telling you, the high-end houses are the last thing the bank wants to keep. They want to get them off their books as fast as they can, and they're the ones with the least amount of cash buyers coming through, so they'll take humongous. In fact, it's always been the case. They'll take huge discounts. What's the biggest discount you ever got on a short sale, John?
About 600,000
Discount.
discount. It was
How's it worth?
a $930-some-thousand loan, and we got it down to $320, $325, something like that.
What was it worth?
Today's dollars,
Yeah.
it was worth about $4.5, $4.75. And we flipped it quick. We did a double closing, cash buyer for $365, $375, something like that. Can't remember.
All right. Okay, next question. How long do you have to keep a property in order to avoid capital gains taxes? You will never avoid capital gains taxes if you sell the house. The way you avoid capital gains taxes is die. And I know that's not real appealing to you, but it is ultimately what's going to happen. So you're either going to pay long-term capital gains or short-term capital gains. Long-term's 15% right now, this year. Short-term's 35% if you're in that bracket, and you will be if you get out here and make much money. The way to avoid them is do a 1031 tax-deferred exchange, or don't sell them, or buy them in your IRA. And then there is no capital gains tax as well. When buying subject to, what script do you use to convince the seller to give you the deed even though you are only taking over payments? And a loan remains in their name. The script is actually in your green course. It's actually in your Quick Start Real Estate School manual. And you are buying the property. Don't think for a minute that you're not. When somebody gives you the deed, when they hand that deed to your attorney, you own their property just the same as if you paid off their loan. Title has transferred. Loan stays in their name. Loan stays attached to the property, but title has transferred. You own the property. So the script is, I've already given it to you once today, though. I'll buy your house, but I have to take over your payments, which means the loan will stay in your name until I get it paid off sometime in the future. Will that work for you? And if the answer is yes, you go get the deed. If the answer is no, you won't. Or you kick into the lease option mode. In fact, you heard me give a gentleman I had up here on the stage an option. Would you rather sell a house or would you rather lease it? What did he say? Sell. What would most sellers say? Sell. Okay, well, I can buy it, but under the conditions that I take over your debt, the loan stays in your name until sometime in the future I cash it out. And now if they say okay with that, you take it subject to if you want to. If you don't want to, don't even bring it up. Just do a lease purchase instead. All right. Here's one submitted by Carla from Georgia. $24,000 loan on it. They're asking $50,000. She thinks it's worth about $55,000. Carla, I don't see a payment. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's low. The payments are current. The seller will not. It looks like the seller will not lease purchase it, but will owner finance it. Where are you at, Carla? Okay, did you talk to the seller? They're asking $75,000?
Yeah.
And you think it's worth $55,000? The seller says it's worth $55,000.
Yeah. My comp showed it at about 55 also.
All right. Well, are you dealing with an investor here?
No, son of the woman who died.
All right, well, can you point out to the son that he's asking too much?
Yeah, I said that was a little high.
Little high? Why don't we just tell it like it is? Why don't we just say, you're asking way too much for the house. I can't get comps anywhere much over 50, and you're asking 75. So should we continue this conversation, or do you choose to talk about a reasonable price?
Well, I asked him what the lowest he would take, and he told me to come look at it and then make him an offer.
Good. Now, what do you say?
I went and looked at it.
Huh?
I went and looked at it. I haven't made an offer yet.
And what should you have said? Want to try that on me?
Sure.
I'm the buyer, you're him. What's his name?
James.
James? James? What's the least you'd take for this house?
Well, why don't you come look at it and then make me an offer?
Well, James, I'd be happy to come look at it after I find out there's a reason. And in order for me to determine that, I need to answer to my question. What's the least you could take for the house?
How about 60?
What would be your next choice?
Well, I got to pay off debts, so 55 would be my rock bottom.
James, you know the house not only worth in the 50s tops, don't you? Don't you?
Yes.
Okay, and you said that you would sell or finance it.
No, not willing to sell or finance because I have to pay off debts.
Says you're willing to sell or finance it. Circled yes. Oh. Are you willing to sell or finance it or not?
No, sorry, no.
No? So you want to lease option it instead?
I need to get some cash.
Huh?
I need to get some cash.
How much cash?
I don't know how much cash he needs.
How much cash do you need to get out of it?
$45,000.
All right, so you're saying if you don't get 45, you won't sell it?
I don't know what he would say. No, okay, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, I won't give you 45 cash because it's only worth in the 50s. So that brings us down to either I buy it from you with owner financing or I lease option it from you. Or if either one of those of interest to you.
Which one would you give me a cash down payment?
I won't give you a cash down payment for either one of them.
Okay. Let me think about it.
So would you rather have payments or nothing?
Payments.
Payments? I'm offering you that in two different ways. Seller financing or lease purchase. Do you want to sell it or not?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Which would you prefer?
I
You want
guess
to sell
seller
it to me with owner
finance.
financing or you want to lease it to me?
Seller finance, I guess.
Okay. What do you have in mind?
It's $50,000 at 8%. With 10,000 down.
I might give you 50,000, but I don't generally pay interest. What's the lowest monthly payment you could take?
$800 a month.
Come on now, James. You know we can't even rent the house for $800 a month. So you know I'm not paying you $800 a month, plus taxes, plus insurance, and plus maintenance.
How about 500?
How about 300? Will 300 work for you?
I guess so.
Well, if it'll work, I'll come out and take a look. But if it won't, there's no reason for me to. Because I'm not going to get a lot more than that out of the marketplace, and I'm not a non-profit organization on purpose, James.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Good. All right. Thank you. Give her a round of applause. Okay, we got a $100,000 asking price on this one. $100,000 seller thinks it's worth $100, asking $100. Seller owes $88. $636 a month payment. Seller said no, they will not owner finance, but yes, they will lease purchase. And it is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,250 square foot house in
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay, whose is this?
Mine.
All right. Talk to me. Have you talked to the seller?
Yes, I have.
All right. And what was the conversation like? And speak up loud in that mic, please.
It's not. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Basically, he's waiting on me to make him an offer.
He's waiting on you to make him an offer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he owes 88. He's only asking
83.
100. Huh?
Okay, 83. Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah, he owes 83. Correct.
Oh, 83. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm him. Make me the offer.
I was going to call him back next week after you told me what
Why
offer to
didn't
make.
you just do it while you're on the phone? Make me the offer. My name is Sammy?
Sammy.
All right, I'm Sammy. Make me the offer.
Sammy, let's see. Will and lease purchase. I see that you want. I forgot what it was. You're asking $900 a month. I can't.
Where does it say that?
Oh, it down in yeah.
Oh, well, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. So, Sammy, I give you $1,000 down and $650 a month.
His payment's $636. Why you want to do that? What do you care about? You don't think he cares about that $14 a month? You just tell it like it is. Sammy, I'll lease option the property from you for what you owe, and my rent will equal your payment. Will that work for you?
No.
Okay. Do you have an option? Do you have a different option?
I'll lease it for you for what I owe, but I need $10,000 down.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck getting it, but it won't be for me. You honestly think somebody's going to give you $10,000 down?
Maybe.
Well, perhaps you should go ahead and see if the market will do that. Keep my number and let me know if they don't, will you?
Okay. All right.
Okay, because if I lease option it from you, I'm going to pay rent equal to the payment, and that's all I'm willing to do because, frankly, you have very little or no equity in it, and I won't be able to get hardly any monthly sped from it because the market just won't pay it. And since I'm responsible for the repairs, I'm not interested in giving you any money down.
Okay.
Done. Tell it like it is.
Okay.
And quit dancing around the issue. Just say it. All right? I want you to practice at that till you get really good at it. One more, and then we got to get going. $60,000 asking, $120,000 the seller thinks it's worth, $110,000 Kenneth thinks it's worth. It's free and clear. It says yes, they will own or finance it. Yes, they'll lease purchase it.
No, well, actually, that's no, they won't own or finance it, but they would consider lease purchasing it if they can't sell it right away.
Okay.
And the reason he won't own or finance is because he just got it back from a foreclosure from an owner finance he
purchase
did.
it from him, won't you? He's only asking $60,000, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it says all cash, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Here, let me mark that out. Then you won't be able to see it anymore. All right? So why don't you just point blank say, listen, I'll lease option it from you for the $60,000, and I'll pay you $300 a month, and give me at least 3 years on it. How's that? Now, there's only two things he's going to do. He's going to come back and say no and tell you what's wrong with your offer, or he's going to say okay.
Okay.
Because he foreclosed on it. It's free and clear. He don't want to mess with it. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot house, guys. He can take that thing and turn right around and probably sell it for the $120,000 by putting a lease option tenant buyer in there and give them a little time to clean up their credit.
Right.
Plus get a nice $500, $600 a month positive cash flow on it.
Sounds good.
All right. I want you to do this one. You got a mentor? Huh? No? No. All right. This deal's screwed. I mean, I often ask myself, how many deals you got to lose to pay for a mentor?